Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you an art journal page that I have created. I have been wanting to play with my alcohol inks for a while now, so I decided to get them out and create this page. I didn't want to make a mess everywhere, so I got an old pizza box out and I found some glossy cardstock. I'm going to use this Adirondack blending solution. I'm going to sprinkle that all over my glossy card, and then I'm going to add my alcohol inks. I'm using paper mill alcohol inks, well, a mixture of paper mill and Adirondack. So on this page I'm using mandarin, poppy, citrus, and as a metallic I'm using platinum. I also added a few drops of white. I'm going to use that puffer, that air blower thing, to move my inks around once I've got them all on my paper. To help them move a little better, I add more blending solution as I think I need it. I set that aside until it was mostly dry, and then I used some of this gold foil to just rub over the wet spots and transferred the foil to those areas. It just accepts the foil where the ink is still a little bit damp. I'm going to do the same procedure for 3 more sets of colours. I'm going to do a mauve set, and for this I'm going to use amethyst, lavender and a gold mixative. The process for each one is the same. I apply the blending solution first and then the inks, and then mix them up using a variety of means. I either use that air puffer or I just move my cardstock around until I'm happy with the way the card looks. Now I'm going to do some blues and with a bit of green mixed in. The colours I'm using are Winter Lake, Ocean Blue, which is a shimmer, Lime Green, which is also a shimmer, and Sea Breeze, which is a shimmer. And for the metallic one in this one I'm using Brass Shimmer. These are all Paper Mill brand. I use the same technique with these colours as well, but I actually ended up putting away too much of that blending solution and the colours on there to start with, and they just blended all together and just ran everywhere. Actually, I ended up tipping them off of the card because there was just too much of it. So a little trick there, don't put too much on the start. You're better off to start with your smaller amounts and then add to it as you go. You can see here they just all blend together and make a bit of a mess, but I am able to save this and I end up with something that I do end up liking in the end, but I do waste a lot of product to get there. My 4th set of colours is in the pink range. I'm going to use the same technique. I wanted to mix some pearl in amongst this one just to see the pearl finish, so I applied the pearl first and then I added fuchsia, which is a shimmer, magenta, which is also a shimmer, and rose quartz. So I've got 4 colours plus the pearl on here. Once again I just add the product a little more sparingly this time and roll it around, or use my puffer little blower thing, and get the colour to move around too, so that it looks like something that I would like. I'm going to set those pieces aside now and let them dry. To start work on the background of my page, I'm using my 4-ring bound art journal that I make up myself. These are watercolour sheets that I've put a coat of gesso on. In this particular case I didn't really need to use the gesso because I'm going to cover my background with this sewing pattern tissue paper. I'm going to sprinkle a good liberal coat of this matte medium onto the page, then add my pattern paper or tissue paper and crinkle it up so that I've got plenty of texture in the background. I'm going to apply then a coat of the matte medium on top of the pattern as well. Once that's dry, I use my scissors, trim off the tissue paper from around the edge of the page, and then I use Art Deco Ultra Gloss in gloss black and give the page a good covering coat of black. I set that aside to dry, and once it was all dry I used my Crafters Workshop chicken wire reversed stencil and some white acrylic paint. I used a sponge to dab the white paint through the stencil to just randomly here and there on the background to create a bit of interest into the background. I'm not too particular about where I put the white because a lot of this will be covered up by the other elements I'm going to put on the page. Using this deep red stamp called Water Droplets Background, I'm going to stamp randomly on the background of this page with gold pigment ink, and then I'm going to use clear embossing powder to heat emboss the stamped areas. Now I'm going to use some gold acrylic paint and a stiff dry brush to lightly dry brush over the background to bring that texture of the sewing pattern paper to the foreground, make it stand out a little better, and also add a bit of gold apart from that stamping to the background. I took 2 dies from my Spellbinders hexagon nestabilities and I cut some hexagons from the ink, the alcohol ink sheets that I created earlier on. I'm going to use these to embellish my page. I cut 2 or 3 of each size of each colour and then had to play around with the placement on my page. Just a matter of trying things where I like them, where I don't like them, moving them, making sure that I haven't got 2 of the same colour next to each other. And once I'm happy with my layout, I'll go ahead and use some matte medium to attach them to my page. The matte medium wasn't working all that well, it wasn't sticking properly, and I had to hold things in place for way too long. So I got out my heavy gel and used that instead, and I found that that stuck a lot better. Once I had all my hexagons stuck in place, I put it between 2 craft sheets and put it under a block of paper pads to dry. Then when it was dry, I used my big scissors and trimmed around the edge. To give my hexagons a little bit of detail, I'm going to use this Office Mate paint marker, extra fine, and just draw a faux stitch line around each of the hexagons. I didn't like the way that the white stenciling stood out so much against the black background, so I used a bit more of the black acrylic paint and dry brushed over the top of it lightly so as to try and push it back into the background a little. I didn't want to cover it completely, but I did want to dull it off a little bit. I repeated the process with the gold acrylic paint as well, just to put back the gold over the top of that black that I just reapplied. For my quote for this page, I'm going to use my Kaisercraft uppercase alphas to cut the word day out of the green alcohol ink page that I created. I then printed out on my computer, make each a great day, so that my quote is make each day a great day. I'm going to then attach those to my page using my matte medium. When the matte medium was dry, I used my Uniball fine black pen to just make a scribbly border around each of the white sections of my quote. It seems to make the white blend in nicely with the background instead of looking like it's just stuck on top. I also did some faux stitching around the word day. To finish my page off, I used my fine line bottle that is filled with slightly watered down white acrylic paint and did a scribbly border around the whole of the page. I think the white lifts it a little bit and makes it just a little bit brighter. So there we have my page for today. I am pretty happy with it. I'm glad I got to play with those alcohol inks. I've been putting that off and wanting to do it for some time, so nice to get that done. If you're not a subscriber to my channel already, I would love it if you would subscribe. Also, thank you for watching my video today, and I hope you'll join me for my next video.